Yashodhanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodhanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivajakacharya Ashtotadashata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Shri Shri Kishori Ki Jai Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani Ki Jai Shri Shri Gauranitai Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtapraeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Sada Sevya Srimad Bhagavati Kata Yasya Shravana Matrena Harishchittam Samashayet Paramananda Pataya Prema Varshaksharayate Sarvada Sarvasevyaya Shri Krishnaya Namostume. So today we're reading Canto 10, Chapter 22, Text 27 and 28. We're coming to the end of this pastime and the transition into the new pastime which is going to take place. That's verse 28. So I'll read verse 27 and then we can do verse 28 responsibly. Yata balavajam siddha mayemaram syata shapa yad udishya vratam idam chedur aryarchanam satihi. Go now, girls, and return to Vraj. Your desire is fulfilled, for in my company you will enjoy the coming nights. After all, this was the purpose of your vow, to worship Goddess Katyayani, O pure-hearted ones. And text 28. Shri Shukuvacha Ityadishta Bhagavata Labdha Kama Kumarika Dhayantyastat Padam Bhojam Kritstranirvi Vishurvrajam Ityadishta Bhagavata Labdha Kama Kumarika Dhayantyastat Padam Bhojam Kritstranirvi Vishurvrajam Ityadishta Bhagavata Labdha Kama Kumarika Dhyayantyastat Padam Bhojam Kritstranirvivishodvrajam. Word for word. Sri Shuka Uvacha. Sri Shukadev Goswami said, Iti, thus, Adishtaha, instructed, Bhagavata, by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Labdha, having obtained, Kamaha, their desire, Kumarika, the young girls, Jayantya, meditating, Tat is, Pada Ambojam, upon the lotus feet, Kutstrat, with difficulty, Nirvivishu, they returned, Rajam, cowherd village. In the translation, Shukadev Goswami said, thus instructed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the young girls, their desire now fulfilled, could bring themselves only with great difficulty to return to the village of Raj, meditating all the while upon his lotus feet. And the purport by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The gopis' desire was fulfilled because Lord Krishna had agreed to act as their husband. A young girl can never spend the night with any man except her husband, and thus when Krishna agreed to engage the girls in the nocturnal rasa dance during the coming autumn season, in effect, he was agreeing to reciprocate their love for him in the role of a husband. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripam Tamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I'll just reread the last two verses. Text 27. Go now, girls, and return to Vraj. Your desire is fulfilled. For in my company you will enjoy the coming nights. After all, this was the purpose of your vow to worship Goddess Katyayani, O pure-hearted ones. And text 28. Shukadev Goswami said, thus instructed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the young girls, their desire now fulfilled, could bring themselves only with great difficulty to return to the village of Vraj, meditating all the while upon his lotus feet. So first I'd like to beg the blessings of all the assembled Vaishnavas. Please, these are lofty topics, and it takes a lot of mercy, which I don't really have, in order to be able to speak something that's actually of use and won't just be kind of like a regurgitation of whatever our acharyas have said about these pastimes. I'd like to start by pointing out something that our acharyas say is embedded in this first verse in text 27. So, basically, what is elucidated here, I'm just going to put my phone on airplane mode so I don't get all the ashram messages. What is elucidated here is that Krishna gives results beyond whatever one desires when one worships him. He goes above and beyond and much farther than what one can conceive of when they do Krishna bhajan. And this is a very, very beautiful thing for all of us. And actually, this is the nature of love. This is how love works. And so particularly for Krishna's devotees, it's important that we understand the way Krishna's heart works. Because when you love someone, you always try to exceed their expectations. This is the nature of love. It means you want to touch their heart. When you love someone, you want to see them smile, you want to see them surprised. You want to do whatever you have to do to bring their feelings to the next level of happiness. So this is what Krishna wants to do with his devotees, because he loves his devotees, and his devotees love him. So he always wants, his only interest actually is increasing. How can I make it more? How can I make it more? And specifically, he's thinking, how can I give them more? He's thinking about the other party. He's not thinking about himself. Yes, he's the supreme enjoyer, but the highest enjoyment of the highest enjoyer is to see those that he loves enjoy. This is the nature of God's heart. He wants his devotees to be happy. So yes, in the Bhagavad Gita, he says that he reciprocates in a neutral way. Ye yatamam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajamyaham. He says, I reciprocate accordingly. I give them what they give me. So it doesn't seem like it's so sweet. It's just more like a transaction. But when Krishna says this in the Bhagavad Gita, he's speaking to a very broad audience of people. And for the vast majority of souls in the material world, the only thing they're qualified for is that direct kind of neutral reciprocation. Because they're not really asking for love in an outward way. They're saying, oh, I'm worshiping you because I want this. What is it? There's 4 types of people that approach Krishna. Some are coming for wealth. Some are coming because life is difficult. Some are coming because they want some knowledge. And a rare soul actually knows the truth. So most people, Krishna's doing great mercy by just reciprocating with their desires. And then, of course, Krishna goes on to explain that actually all people in this world are following my path. And so people who worship the demigods, I'm reciprocating with them by giving them what they ask for through that worship. So it's neutral. But this ye yatamam prapadyante, it takes a totally different feeling when we come to the devotees. When we come to the devotees, he reciprocates because they constantly want to give everything they can and more to Krishna. And so he constantly wants to give everything that he can and more to them. He wants to give them everything he possibly can. More and more and more. This is the nature of love. So it's different for the devotees, for that special class of people, for the Vaishnavas. This thing is different. And therefore, in the Nectar of Devotion, Srila Prabhupada, he sums this up in a perfect sentence. He says, on the transcendental platform, the distinction between master and servant disappears. Because actually, at that point, there is no real understanding of who is the master and who's the servant. You can understand it from outside, looking at it from a tattva perspective, but from the perspective of rasa, from this perspective of the emotion, both parties, both the master, Krishna, ontologically, the Ishvara, and the jiva, the servant, the sevaka, they both want the same thing, which is the other person to be happier. And so, therefore, Prabhupada says on the transcendental platform, there's no difference between master and servant. So this is the beauty of bhakti. This is what bhakti really means. They're both trying to serve each other in better and better ways. And it's this seva bhav, this internal mood of service, of I want to give myself to the other party in the relationship, whether it's Krishna or whether it's Krishna's pure devotee, them both wanting to give themselves completely. This seva bhav is the foundation for all rasas in spiritual existence. It's the foundation for every rasa that's there. In other words, Krishna wants to do this for all of his devotees, and all of his devotees want to do this for him. It's all, the foundation for all of them is this seva bhav. Now that's all well and good, but everything's always better when we have practical examples. When we hear, okay, you can say that and you can lay it out in an abstract way theoretically, but what are some examples of Krishna exceeding his devotees' expectations? Luckily, we have this wonderful book, and it's given us many, many, many examples. First, we can take Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj was a Kshatriya boy. He was horribly shamed because he was kicked off of the lap of his father by his stepmother. And for a Kshatriya, to be embarrassed is worse than death. And even for a little 4-year-old, 5-year-old Kshatriya boy, that nature being there, this was the most intolerably painful thing Dhruva Maharaj could imagine. And so he went to the forest because his mother said, God is in the forest, you go worship him there, and he'll fulfill your desire. He went to the forest with an abject vow, a direct desire to get a kingdom better than his father's, because Kshatriyas, it's part of their nature. They want vengeance. They want justice, and they want vengeance if they're slighted. He was slighted, and so he went, and he did some tapasya, and then Narada Muni came and said, oh, you're trying to speak to Narayan? Let me help you. I'll give you a mantra. And he chanted this mantra that Narada Muni gave to him, and he went months and months and months chanting this mantra, but his desire was to have a kingdom. His desire didn't really have anything to do with Vishnu. It didn't really have anything to do with Narayan. He wasn't thinking, I want the darshan and I want to serve him when I get there. And this, I just want a kingdom. He's a 5-year-old boy. He's quite simple in that regard. And when Narayan showed up, because of the mercy of his guru, actually, because Narada Muni is a pure devotee, the word Narada actually means one who gives Narayan. Da, like Buridha Jana, those who are great to the people. They give Krishna Katha to the people we hear in this verse from the Gopi Geet. So Narada, Nara means Narayan, and Da means the giver of Narayan. So wherever Narada Muni goes, Narayan follows, somehow or other. His disciples, they all get Narayan. So when Narayan showed up by Narada's mercy and came to Dhruva, Dhruva realized the stupidity of what he was asking for. He spoke after being touched on the head by the conch shell of Narayan. He spoke and he said, I was praying for broken shards of glass, and now you've given me diamonds. Actually, I only want to serve you. Just keep me near you. I just want to serve you. But Krishna, being so magnanimous, Narayan being so magnanimous, and wanting to exceed the expectations of his devotees, he gave him a kingdom and gave him something that made him think that kingdom was completely useless. Not only did he give him a kingdom, but he gave him the pole star. He gave him Dhruvaloka, which is actually a Vaikuntha planet. It isn't destroyed when the material universe is destroyed. It's just an eternal planet. And Narayan resides there with Dhruva Maharaj, and he gave him bhakti. He stayed there with him. So Krishna wants to exceed the expectations of his devotees. Example number 2, we have Prahlad Maharaj. So Prahlad Maharaj is such a special devotee that when the demigods asked him to go forward and pray to Nrsingadev, first he thought, you're all the demigods, you're Lord Brahma, you're Lord Indra. If your prayers don't work, what will my prayers do? But anyway, he did it as a service to them, and he went and he prayed to Lord Nrsingadev. And Lord Nrsingadev was immediately happy. He was immediately appeased. And he went and he said to Prahlad, okay, you've pleased me, now take a benediction. And Prahlad said, I don't want a benediction from you. I was doing some service for the demigods. I don't even know why I'm so special. I can't ask you for anything. Please. Anyway, you've already been so kind to me. And Nrsingadev said, no. You have to ask for something. I give my devotees benedictions. I'm telling you, ask me for a benediction. And Prahlad Maharaj said, oh, my Lord, I'm not a merchant. I won't ask you for anything because in all honesty, that's not how I see our relationship. I didn't come to you with some ulterior desire. That's not what I do. And Nrsimhadev said, see here, I know you're pure in heart. I know that. But you ask me for something. I'm telling you to ask me for something. Ask me for any benediction. And see, you can see the beauty of the interplay between God and his devotee here. You can really see it. Because they're both, it's like a competition of some sorts. You can also see this with exalted devotees when they interact. Neither one wants anything from the other person. In fact, they're abhorred by the idea, like Prahlad Maharaj, they're abhorred by the idea of taking something from the other person. They only want to offer some service. This seva bhav is there. And so you can see in this conversation between Prahlad and Nrsimhadev, Nrsimhadev is trying to force him to ask for something. And then Prahlad says, okay, since you're telling me unequivocally that I have to ask for something, I'll ask for something. But it's more like I'm doing it as a service to you. Because it's your desire that I ask for something, I'll ask for something. So you see, it's a very clever game that goes on between the devotees and the Lord. Because they don't want anything from each other, and they want to give to the other person. And so finally, Prahlad says, all right, I'll ask for something. And then he doesn't actually ask for something on his own behalf. He says, you give my father bhakti. You give my father liberation. Please, you bless my father. You want me to ask for something? I'll ask for that. Even though his father tried to kill him. And then, what does Nrsimhadev do? Because he wants to exceed his devotees' expectations. He wants to win in this service game. He wants to make his devotee happy. He says, I got you to ask for something. 7 generations forward, 7 generations back. All your family will be devotees. You're already a devotee. That's already there. That's not even really a benediction. You already have that benefit. So you can see this beautiful interplay between God and the devotees. Then we have Vasudev Dutt in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. He asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He went to him, and out of his compassion, because Gaur Leela is all about Audarya, it's all about magnanimity. He said, Oh Mahaprabhu, everything for me is so good, but people are suffering so badly in this world. You please pardon all of their sins. Let me go to hell on behalf of their sins for eternity and give them all liberation. Let them all become your devotees, or let them at least be liberated in some way or other. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being so happy and wanting to exceed his devotees' expectations, wanting to grant his wish and wanting to exceed his expectations, said, Vasudev, you don't have to worry about going and paying some atonement for these people. Just by your compassion, they're liberated. I do. As you ask, I do it. And you don't have to go to hell for this. What? This is ridiculous. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants to exceed his devotees' expectations. And Lord Brahma in the Brahma Vimohan Leela, another wonderful example. After the Aghasura Leela, Lord Brahma heard from the other demigods what this Aghasura Leela was, and heard how amazing it was that Krishna killed this gigantic demon who had a mouth wide as the sky. His teeth looked like giant mountain peaks. And Krishna just dispatched with him this little 6-year-old boy, dispatched with this huge demon who was terrifying all of the demigods. And Lord Brahma heard this and he thought, this must be my Lord Vishnu. Because Lord Brahma, he's worshipping Lord Vishnu in his own planet. Vishnu is actually there in one of his manifestations. And so he worships him more or less every day. And so he thought, this is an opportunity to go and see the opulence of my Lord. And when he got there, Krishna was taking lunch with the cowherd boys. And he saw things that perplexed him greatly. Who is this? This is supposed to be Vishnu. He's eating from his left hand. He's taking the remnants from his friends. He said, they're taking things and they're going, wow, Krishna, you have to try this. This is really good. And then they put it into Krishna's mouth. This is supposed to be Vishnu. And so Brahma became perplexed. And he thought 2 things. First, he had a small doubt, but actually our acharyas say that his overriding desire was to see his Lord's opulence, because he's accustomed to that type of worship. He wanted to see the opulence of Vishnu. And so he played a little trick, which is the Brahma Vimohan Leela. But as a result of that Leela, and because of Krishna's great magnanimity and his desire to exceed his devotees' expectations, he not only showed the opulence of one Vishnu form, like Brahma expected, he showed him an unlimited amount of Vishnu forms, and he gave him the great gift, which we can say was just complete mercy, of understanding the beauty of Vrindavan Dham. And from that point, the seed was planted in Lord Brahma's heart to aspire for Vrindavan Dham and to aspire to be a Vrajvasi. So Krishna always tries to exceed the expectations of his devotees, always tries to give them more than they ask for. This is the nature of Krishna. Now that's all well and good, but we're talking about the gopis here. That's what this chapter is about. That's where we happen to be in the Bhagavatam, so we have to speak on what the Bhagavatam is trying to speak. So what did Krishna give them? What did Krishna give to the gopis? If we look at the verse, he said, Mayema ramsyata kshapa, which means you will enjoy with me in the coming nights. This is a precursor, this is a hint that Krishna is giving to them, and also it's a permission, if you will, that he's saying the Rasa Leela will take place. I'm pleased with you. I'm pleased with the sacrifice of your Katyayani Vrat. I'm pleased with you acting on this day in such a way and showing your pure-hearted surrender. And so we will enjoy Ras in the coming nights. It'll be in the future because you're still a little young, but when the time is right, it will happen. So who are these gopis who get to enjoy like this with Krishna, who get to enjoy Ras Leela, who get to enjoy this, the topmost pastime for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas? Well, Lord Brahma, he tells us, Lakshmi Sahasra Shatasam Brahma Sevyamano. He says that they're Lakshmis. He says in his Brahma Samhita, his prayers to Krishna, he says that Krishna in Goloka is served by millions and millions of beautiful Lakshmis. So the gopis are Lakshmis. But the interesting thing is our acharyas, they say that this word ramsyata, you will enjoy, it indicates that the gopis are more elevated than Lakshmi Devi. And actually, what Krishna is saying is you will enjoy in a way that is superior to the enjoyment of Lakshmi Devi. Which is pretty interesting because Lakshmis are Bhagavan's Hladini Shakti. So, who are the gopis then? If they're Lakshmis, how is it that they're going to enjoy more than Lakshmi? So our acharyas, they give a particular type of logic. They say it's called Kuru Pandava Nyaya. We all know who the Kurus and the Pandavas are. We know about the Mahabharata, we know about the Bhagavad Gita. So Kuru Pandava Nyaya is a particular type of logic that says something within one category is specialized in such a way that even though it's within one category, it's still superior. So we take the Kurus and the Pandavas. The Pandavas, they are Kauravas. Pandu and Dhritarashtra were brothers. They're Kauravas, actually, going by the text. If you say the Kauravas in a general way, you also mean the Pandavas. So we use the term Pandavas to specifically indicate these 5 brothers who were very, very, very dear to Krishna. So in the same way, we say Lakshmis and Gopis. The Gopis are Lakshmis, but they're special Lakshmis who are more dear to Krishna than all of the rest of the Lakshmis in Vaikuntha, all the rest of the Lakshmis. And this is underscored and proven by a wonderful pastime that happened between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and one of his very, very dear devotees, Venkatabat, who was the head pujari of the Sri Rangam temple in South India. So Venkatabat, he was doing pujari every day to Ranganath and to Lakshmi Devi, to Sri Devi. We can imagine the level of devotion he had for them, being the head pujari of the Ranganath temple. It's one of the most esteemed, amazing, prestigious temples in India. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and stayed with him for 4 months out of the year, the Chaturmas season, when all sannyasis, because of the rains, they sit down and they stay in one place. Venkatabat had the great fortune to have Chaitanya Mahaprabhu come and stay in his home. Now, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu naturally, being Krishna and also being a Krishna Bhakta simultaneously, he was watching Venkatabat and his devotion to Narayan, to Ranganath, and one day, he just decided to have a little bit of fun. And so he said to Venkatabat, I know that Lakshmi Devi is the most chaste lady in all of existence. I know that she's very chaste to Narayan, to her pati. But can you tell me one thing? I remember this verse from the Bhagavatam where the Nagapatnis, the wives of Kaliya, they said, I don't understand how Kaliya could be so lucky to get the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna, of you. Because even Lakshmi Devi is doing meditation. She's doing austerities and tapasya in order to get this dust. And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Venkata Bhatt, he said, how is it? Can you tell me, how is it that Lakshmi Devi, the wife of Narayan, who's so chaste, she's aspiring for the dust of Krishna's lotus feet? I don't understand this. And Venkata Bhatt had a good answer. He said, oh, this is simple. Anyway, you're Krishna, so you know all of this. But I'll tell you, Narayan and Krishna are the same. They're non-different. And so Krishna is just a particular aspect of Narayan who has certain sportive activities, and Lakshmi, in order to increase the happiness of those activities, she wants to relish that, and she wants to be a part of it, so therefore she's doing austerities. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, okay, this is okay. But Venkata, I have another question. And then he quotes a verse from the Bhagavatam in the 47th chapter that Uddhava speaks. Nayam shriyonga unitantarate prasada swaryo shitam nalina ganda rucham kutonya rasotsavesha bhujadanda grihita kshanta labda shishamya udagad vrajavallabhinam. Uddhava says, just after seeing the unparalleled devotion of the gopis, he says, the gopis during the rasa dance, they were embraced by the arms of Krishna. This is a favor that the goddess of fortune could not attain, that the women of heaven, the Swaryoshita, they could not attain, and that women in this world, who are very beautiful by material estimation, they certainly cannot attain. Who can measure the great fortune of these gopis? And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he quoted this verse, and he said, so, if Narayan and Krishna are the same, and Lakshmi Devi just wanted to relish a different type of pastime, can you explain to me why she couldn't? Why she wasn't able to ultimately enter into those pastimes? I'm bewildered. Venkata, you're her great devotee. Can you please explain this to me? And Venkata Bhatt became bewildered. And he became disturbed, actually. He didn't know what to say. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he explained the difference, and he explained why. But Venkata Bhatt, he still was disturbed, and he couldn't it couldn't enter his heart. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he could see that this was a problem for him. He could see that this explanation it just wasn't working for Venkata. And so then he said, actually, I was just joking. This is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. He says, I was just kidding about this last thing. We're good friends. It was just a joke between the two of us. Please forgive me for my words. You're right. And he acceded to Venkata's explanation. He said, Narayan and Krishna are the same, and it's just the bhav of the worshipper that makes the differentiation, because the worshipper wants to see God in a particular form, but ultimately God is one. And so, just don't even think about those last things I said. I'm sorry. And he let him go. Now, this is very, very interesting, because what this shows, one, it establishes the superiority of the gopis over Lakshmi Devi on the basis of Shastra Praman and Bhagavatam Praman, but it also shows that we're very fortunate to have the particular concept that we have and to read the Bhagavatam in the way that we read it. Because there are many other conceptions, and actually this is the most intimate and esoteric conception that one can have, the Gaudiya Vaishnava conception, the conception given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There are other Vaishnavas that they can't imagine this, and even if told straight by God themselves, it disturbs them, and then God withdraws. He says, no problem, never mind. Sorry, didn't mean to go above your adhika or your pay grade. Because Venkata Bhatt, as far as we know, he did not change to being a Krishna Bhakta. He worshipped Lakshmi Narayan for the rest of his life, and we can surmise he went to Vaikuntha with that bhav. The Sri Sampradaya remained intact. Their head pujari, practically one of the leaders of the Sampradaya at the time, did not change and say, no, now we have to become Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Now Krishna is the highest. They didn't uninstall Ranganathji and put Govinda there. He didn't change. Even though he was sitting with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, he didn't change. It's like Murari Gupta. Murari Gupta was there in Nadia. He was there with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, worship Krishna, he's the best. Then Murari Gupta came back the next day. And what did he say? I think I have to kill myself. Because I can't give up the worship of Ram. But I also don't want to give up your order. So now what can I do? I'm stuck. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Murari, you're Hanuman. It's no problem. This is your bhav eternally. You won't be able to change. Actually, I did that to you just to show everybody the spotless devotion of yourself, of your heart. You keep worshiping Ram. So Murari Gupta, he was there. He was around for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, but his conception was Ram, and his love was with Ram. So we're very fortunate to be able to get what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has actually come to give. Another example, when Gop Kumar goes to Vaikunta in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, he visits Vaikunta, and because Gop Kumar is chanting the Gopal mantra, he really, really loves Gopal. For one, he's a Vrajvasi. He was born in Vraj, and he was initiated in Vraj, and he did bhajan in Vraj, and then he went on this kind of a tour of the universe to show all of us the different gradations of bhakti and the different gradations of realization. So when he got to Vaikunta, he already had quite some realization of his mantra chanting and was already having visions of Krishna and seeing Krishna doing things. And I can't remember at that point if he was interacting with Krishna in his meditation or not, but at any rate, he was seeing him and he knew his pastimes in this. So when he got there, he was amazed by what he saw, and he started speaking to the Vaikuntavasis, asking about the Lord there, because that was his particular mission, was to go to all these different places and see God in his different positions. And he said, does Vaikuntanath do this? Is he like this? My Lord in Vraj, he does this with his friends, and his parents are like this, and he leaves to herd the cows, and he told some stories and some leelas. And the Vaikuntavasis immediately went, oh, what are you saying? Don't speak like this. God doesn't do this. That's crazy what you're saying. But, shh. Come with us, we'll show you God. And they showed him Vaikuntanath. And he worshipped like that for some time until he wasn't happy anymore. And he moved on to the next stage. But the point here is that liberated souls, they didn't have any attraction for Krishna's pastime because their attraction was somewhere else. This is all to highlight the great fortune we have, the opportunity to become attracted to Vraj, to Krishna and Vraj, to Krishna's pastimes with the gopis as they're presented by our acharyas. It's very important to understand this. But now coming back to the verse, coming back to the topic at hand, because earlier I said Krishna exceeds the expectations of all of his devotees. So now I want to talk a little bit about how Krishna exactly exceeded the expectations of the gopis. What did it mean to exceed the expectations of the gopis? Certainly, he says, I'll give you the fruit of your vrat. I'll give you the results that you're asking for. You'll enjoy with me in the coming nights. But what exactly does that mean, and how does it exceed what they were asking for? To put it shortly, the gopis, they prayed for a husband. Specifically, they prayed for Krishna as their husband, all of them. Krishna exceeded that by saying, I won't just become your husband. You ask for a husband, I'll give you more than a husband, because I like to give my devotees more than they ask for. I like to exceed my devotees' expectations. He wants to see his devotees in the most ecstatic position he possibly can. He wants them to enjoy to the highest limit of enjoyment. And then it's the devotees and God's job, if you will, to push that limit into infinity, because they're working without a ceiling. There's no ceiling for what they're doing. So it's literally every day is just how much further can we go? How much higher can it go? And it never comes down. It only goes up. And there's no stopping point. So this is Krishna's interest. How can I push it further? How can I make them happier and happier and happier? So he says, I'll do you one better. I won't become your pati. I'll become your upapati, which means your paramour. Because Krishna has many wives in many incarnations. And it's a perfect position. It's absolutely perfect. But Krishna says, for you, because of your spotless devotion, I'm going to give you a special position that I don't give to anybody else except for the gopis. The queens of Dwarka marry Krishna, the Lakshmis marry Krishna. So many swakiya relationships are there in Madhurya Ras. But Krishna says, I will give you the topmost jewel in my treasury. I'll give you myself as a paramour. And now why? Why is this something that would exceed their expectations? And the nature of that answer, the nature of Parakya Ras, is in the restrictions that are on the rasa. Because there are many, many, many restrictions in paramour love. You can't talk to anybody about what you're doing. It's absolutely reprehensible as far as Vedic society. It's even something that is reprehensible in modern society to this day. It's a terrible thing. If someone is married, to have a relationship with them on the side, or if you're married, to have another relationship. It's one of the most morally dejectable things that we can do. Even now, people will say that person is terrible if they do that. So it's very, very secret, which is very good for rasa and for intensity. And you can't speak about it to anybody because it's a secret. You can be seen in public. You can't even indicate whatsoever that, and even when you're together with your paramour, you're afraid that somebody will find out while it's going on. So there's that impending anxiety and intensity that's there. So these things are there. And actually, Rupa Goswami tells us that this is the nature of real prema. Because when Rupa Goswami speaks of prema, he means gopi prema. He means the prema of the Vraj Vadhus. So he says, when love has every reason to break due to obstacles, but still remains or even increases, that love is prema. So in spite of all of these things, the love that increases, in spite of all of these obstacles, this is real prema. And I'm reminded of something that I was told recently while I was in Vrindavan. A nice way to understand this, not so intellectually, but to actually understand what it means to have something that is the highest, and how we can actually define what is the highest thing. Because a lot of times, and it's easy, our acharyas have given us no dearth of intellectual answers and definitions and shlokas and pramanam. A lot of times we keep all of this stuff very, very right brain. And we think, okay, the definition of prema and this, and the gopis are exalted because 1 + 1 is 2, + 2 is 4, and it's very linear. But actually, if we think about it from the perspective of how it actually works and how we grade things that are superior to other things, love of Krishna, particularly in Madhurya Ras, in Parakya love, is the highest because there's one, the first characteristic is there's nothing that tastes better than it. Nothing can be relished that tastes more nice than that. Just like if we have a favorite food, nobody has to explain to us why it's our favorite. It's because it tastes really, really, really good. If you love strawberry cheesecake, if that's your favorite food, it's because nothing else tastes like strawberry cheesecake. Am I right? Whatever it is that you happen to like. But the other characteristic, which defines all rasa, but particularly Madhurya Rasa, in isolating what is the highest, is that nothing is more painful than giving it up. Nothing hurts more than giving something up if it's actually the highest thing. So for the gopis, nothing was better than being around Krishna, and nothing hurt more than not being around him, or the idea of giving him up. This pushed them through all of the obstacles. This helped them to move forward in increasing this love. This is the nature of Parakya Ras. It's the nature of all rasas, but it takes its special significance because of all the societal obstacles that are there for the gopis and Krishna. And it's this oscillation between extreme joy and extreme sorrow that constantly pushes this feeling up, 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 up. It's compared to a riverbank. When a river is flowing very, very, very fast, it needs two very strong riverbanks. Our acharyas say an embankment of separation and an embankment of union. They both have to be there, and they both have to be very strong. Because if they're not very strong, then the river will break the riverbank, and then the river will flow wider. And it will become slower, and it will become more mellow, and it will become more easygoing. But the intensity of prema, the intensity of real love, is furnished by these two very, very, very strong riverbanks that keep it becoming more intense, more skinny, more condensed, more condensed, more condensed. This is Parakiya Ras. This is what the gopis are going to experience. This is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to experience. The principal reason why the avatar exists at all, even though it's not that there was a time when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu decided to come into existence, but his principal reason for being is to taste this thing, the love of the gopis, the love between Radha and Krishna, to taste that. Therefore, in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's own words, he says, Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam. The Srimad Bhagavatam is the highest pramanam. It gives the spotless truth. And what is that spotless truth? That spotless truth is the Rasa Panchajaya. It's pastimes like these. It's the 10th canto. The spotless truth, the highest limit of prema, of truth, is these particular pastimes. And then he says, Prema Pumarta Mahan. And prema, and entering into those pastimes and feeling that love, that is the goal of life. So this is what I could churn out of this today. Please forgive me if there were any mistakes. It's certainly correct them. If you saw anything nice, then it's definitely my Guru Jana's, it's not mine. If there are any questions or comments, then, or corrections, please. Hare Krishna.
Thanks for the class. Another instance I was thinking of, because as you mentioned, the Bhagavatam is chock full of all these instances of Krishna's reciprocating in a way that exceeds the expectations of his devotees. So I like the one of Dhruva Maharaj, or all the demons in Vraj, like even Putana and all these that had such inimical feelings initially towards Krishna, but then he just takes whatever slight glimmer of something that resembles bhakti and reciprocates. I also think of Kardama Muni, and when he got darshan of Narayan, and he was like, all right, well, I know I shouldn't really ask for anything, but I'm not there yet. I still want something, so I want a wife. I want a qualified wife. But then Narayan, of course, he fulfills the desire, but exceeds that expectations by not giving him just any wife, but gives him Devahuti, who gives him a princess, and such a stunningly beautiful princess that all the demigods, they'd be flying around, and I think it's described one of the demigods saw Devahuti playing on top of a palace, and he was so stunned by her beauty that he fell out of his airplane and fell down or something like that, and then got all these yogic powers that he could create this castle in the sky and all that sort of stuff. So there's another instance of how Krishna just beyond what one can actually, or even it's described when he was creating or had the impetus to create this castle airplane thing. Even he was shocked by what came out of him. He was like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that.
Well, thank you for this. Actually, this is the example that Sanatana Goswami quoted in this verse, Kardama Muni, and Krishna exceeding his devotees' desires. Because he said that, so that's nice. You're acting on behalf of Sanatana Goswami to convey the purport of this text. And with Putana, there's one really cool message here that I recently heard. Actually, some of our acharyas, they say that this is a great boon for all of us, that Krishna fulfilled the desires of Putana, and he gave her the position that he gave her because she dressed like a Vaishnavi. No other reason. Obviously, there are some other reasons, but some acharyas have taken this stance, and they've said, take great hope, Vaishnavas, because Krishna is such a loosely merciful God that just because Putana came and dressed like a devotee and pretended to be a devotee, look at the result that she got. Look what she got. So it's great hope for all of us. Anything else, or we can stop here? Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Kishore Kishori ki jai. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki jai. Shri Gaura Nitai ki jai. Shri the Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Vaishnava Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.